to The Writer's Dream. This is a show where authors can talk about how they write their books, how they publish their books, and how they market their books. We have a Facebook page called The Writer's Dream. I encourage you to go on it and please ask questions. We'll try to get back to you. We will get back to you. We also are on YouTube under The Writer's Dream as well. And we encourage you to watch the programs. We've had many interesting authors on the show. And today we have an interesting author. We have Author LP Cummings with us, and he is the writer of Clues from a Night Critter and Walking with Verses, and actually more than that. So, Lawrence, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I write, but my day job is day trading. I trade currency and penny stocks.
Money.
Money. Also lost a lot of money.
Yeah. Money is one of the most interesting topics to most people.
Yeah, it's also very elusive.
Yes, and it's also the root of all evil.
That's what
so
they
tell me.
They're hence writing mysteries.
I think it's the means to shopping myself, but.
Ah.
Okay, so tell us about your books.
Well, Clues from a Night Critter is a mystery book. I developed the concept when I saw some unsolved mystery, murders, and I said, what if? So, hence the birth of Richard Collins. He's a detective, no experience, but he sets up a website, and he's sitting home in his office one day. He got a call from the most influential person who lives in the town, hiring him to look into 4 murders. Ooh. So he wonders, is this my big break, or is it too good to be true? So he's asking the question all throughout the book, and the reader will decide what it is.
So your ending is open-ended?
It's not, well, the crimes were solved.
Okay.
But why did this guy hire Richard?
What was his interest?
What was his interest?
But the concept of having someone who has absolutely no experience with solving crimes deciding to get involved in solving unsolved mysteries is a really good concept for a book, for a series.
Actually, yes, I thought so. And it is a series. So far, there are 3. I finished the second one, and I'm in the middle of writing the third.
What's the name of the second one?
The name of the second one, I haven't, decided the name of it. But I'm coming up with something.
My third book, I could not come up with a title. I had 4 or 5 titles. I had the book cover. I knew exactly what I wanted on the book cover, but it took me 2.5 years to come up with a title, and I finally have a title that I really like. So it's interesting how you can do a whole story and not come up with a title.
It happened with the first also.
Oh, did it?
And for me, it's after I've gotten my reviews, from my peers.
Oh, that's interesting.
That I decided what the title should be.
Yeah, well, I think Clues from a Night Critter is a great title.
Yeah.
I like it. It's catchy. It makes you curious like your main character, Richard Collins, and it's a good start. So basically, though, is this a collection of cases in this book, or is it just one mystery?
Actually, it was a collection of cases. In this book, there are 3 cases, and funny thing is, the guy who hired Richard saw that there was a connection. And I guess, well, I won't tell you why he hired Richard.
No, of course not.
But that's one of the reasons why he hired Richard to work on these cases.
Okay. So why young adult? Why did you write for young adult?
I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't sure who my audience was. And then I got, not Oprah, but somewhat of an anointer, and she used my book, and the response was pretty good from young adults.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I originally with mine, I wanted a young adult audience, but
Right.
as I've been promoting them, I find that there are many adults who really like young adult literature.
I think too is that young adults are pretty curious, so I think they will get interested in books like these.
I also think when you write for young adults, the books are less complicated. They're insofar as when you write for young people, you really have to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and
Right.
things have to be tied up at the end. And there's
Right.
a satisfaction when you finish the book of, okay, something got done.
Yeah, you're right.
Because
it is true. That's true.
adult books, sometimes you read the book, you get to the end of the book, and you scratch your head and you say,
Why?
what happened in that book?
I guess adults' book is pretty much like life. It's like
Yeah.
we never always have clean ending. There's always something left to be done.
But kids can't handle that.
Yeah.
They're not ready for it. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't mean
true.
it as a criticism, they're just not ready for it. Their lives are simpler. And I simply feel that as adults, especially women, it's a complete escape from life. It's just this wonderful world where everything gets tied up at the end.
Yes,
And,
true.
so, again, it's difficult to find a title, and it's
Yes.
difficult to find exactly what your niche is.
It is true.
So, now, the second book still has Richard Collins as your main character.
The second book in the series.
In the series,
Right.
Not this
Yes,
other book.
yes, it does.
Yeah.
It does. And the
and-
third also.
Okay, and it's still the same thing where people contact him on the
Well,
internet?
by the time the second book, he now has a reputation because he saw the first mystery. And, in that first mystery, he got a lot of publication because these were cold cases.
Okay.
So the second mystery, the second book, he now has a reputation. So, people are coming to see him.
Right.
And it moves on from there.
Yeah.
He
no,
does.
It's a good concept.
Yes.
And now, the writing part.
Yes.
Talk to me about writing. What was the greatest challenge in writing this book?
The research.
Really?
I have no idea. I have no experience in solving mysteries. So I had to do some research. My research was, my friend Google,
Yes.
the library, and just curiosity.
Yeah,
You know.
sure. Well, I can give you some resources for forensic science because I taught forensic science.
That I heard when we met you at the library.
Yes.
You did say that.
Yeah,
So I'm going to be,
you can
relying
always
on you.
just email me and, I will either tell you where to go with some question about forensics or I might even know it off the top of my head.
Well,
So I would be happy to help you with that.
this is a win-win already.
Yeah,
Thank you.
well, but research, when you're researching a book, don't you find that it's a maze? Especially on the internet, you start in one direction and you end up
Yes, it's also a needle
in a
in a
haystack.
haystack. That's
Using all those literary
Yeah,
metaphors there. But it leads you to information that sometimes is more interesting than what you're looking for.
It is true, and sometimes that's the most interesting part of the whole thing because you learn so much also.
Yeah,
You find you're expanding your own yourself.
Yeah, I think writers are like that. Writers
Yeah.
are people who are curious and
Right.
love knowledge and love
Yes.
reading, and so you end up with this amazing store of
Yes.
trivial knowledge
Yes.
that you get from your research. What was the best part?
Well, the best part was at the end, when I'm done with all this. For my second book, Walking with Verses, the best part is I went to church one evening, and a lady came up to me, and she showed me a piece of paper, and it was a prayer that's in the book. And she said, I carry this around with me every day. That was the best part to me,
Okay.
because somebody got it.
All right.
With this,
We'll come back to this book. We'll come
Okay.
back to Walking with Verses.
So-
But, what was it with?
Well, this one was someone told me, I was alone one night reading your book, and I got up and I made sure all the windows and the doors were closed.
Yes. Oh, yes. I've done that before.
So, you know, that's pretty good.
Yes,
That's pretty.
every time I read a Stephen King novel,
Yeah.
I make sure I'm not reading it at night because I'm
Yeah,
putting
that's-
barricades against the
Yeah.
doors. Yeah, well, but that of course is such a compliment that because this
Well-
was the mood you were trying to evoke.
Right. You know, even if they were my friends, it still feels good.
Yeah.
It's rewarding. You know, it's
Sure.
rewarding.
Sure, absolutely. Now, did you self-publish?
Yes, I did.
Who'd you self-publish with?
Create Space.
Create Space. Yeah, I've heard
Yes.
good things about them.
They're pretty good. The only thing is that you have to do all the work.
Oh, well,
You know.
yeah.
It's not that you don't have an editor. You know, you have to do all the work.
Well, I have found, I did it with iUniverse, and I found that they offered all of the editorial services.
Pretty
to me.
expensive.
Very expensive.
Right.
They were, but you know, you learn as you go along.
Yes.
And really what you need to do, and you can do this, is to hire an editor on the side. There are a lot of
Yeah.
people who edit for you
Right.
for a lot less money. And
Yeah.
that's
Well-
what I'm going to do with this book.
I tried that, and I wasn't very lucky. I got a few people who were interested, but I can be a little picky. You know, I like good work, and they, you know, unfortunately for me, I wasn't lucky. But you know, I'm sure there are, you know, there are people there.
Yeah, I know
who
a
can
few
do it.
editors,
Okay.
that, and I've seen their work, and I think they're pretty good. So,
Okay.
if you know, again, I met Lawrence at a workshop that Karen Bonet and I do
Right.
called "So You Want to Write a Story," and it's
Yes.
about taking an idea through the self-publishing, self-marketing process and getting your book out there.
And I must tell you, I learned a lot from that
Oh, that's
that
good.
one because of you, I became aware of ACX.
Yes, ACX is a website where you can go to make a digital audio
Right.
version of your book.
And thank you.
Tell us about your experience.
What? It was pretty good. I met a lady, a producer called Timmy Grogan, and she's great. She read my book, and I'm so happy about it. It is now in production,
Yep.
and you know, the experience for me was pretty good. Once again, you know, I'm a bit, you know, not always easy to work with, but she was great.
Yes.
I mean, she was great.
I also did my first book. We're about in the same stage because I'm waiting. Well, I'm in
Right.
production too.
Yes.
And I found that when I first listened to the voice of the person reading the book,
Yeah.
I went, no, that's not what I want it to sound like, because
My
in our minds,
yes.
we create this person.
My experience exactly. And, you know, I think there's a difference between, you know, what I had in mind and what she did, because I think the experience she thought the experience should be the person listened to it wanted to be reading the book. Me, I was thinking of drama. I'm thinking about, you know,
Conflict.
yeah, and you know, but we came to a very good, you know, understanding,
yeah.
and
I had to
It's
make a
good.
few changes of the tone and of the characters. Some of the characters, I perceived them as being edgier than she
Right.
did them. But between the two of us, it was interesting for me to listen to how she produced those characters audibly.
Right.
And I thought, well, you know, when people read the book, they don't know what's in my mind.
right,
And they create their own character. In fact, I had, I think you'll find this interesting, when I first wrote my books, the editors wanted me to describe my female character. And I didn't want to describe my female character because I taught for many years, and I know the pressures on young women to appear a certain way, to be thin, to be this, that, and I wanted my readers to create their own image of my character.
My thought exactly. It's like art. You know, any good art. You know, you view it. 5 people looking at the same painting will come back with different ideas of
Sure.
of what it is.
Even people listening to the same story
Right.
get different shades.
That's true.
And I just listened to her and I realized, well, she's reading the book, and she did read the book through
Right.
and told me, I really like this book. I'm so excited to do the project. So
Mm-hmm.
then I started to really listen to what she had to say, because I felt that she had experience doing this, and that was her interpretation of the characters. And by the end, I ended up listening to the last time you have to listen to it in an airport,
Oh.
and on a Kindle. So I didn't even have earphones, so there I am with the Kindle stuck in my ear. And I said, this is good, I like it.
Well, at the end, when we're done, I had to admit, I told her, something, I wished you've read it before I'd published it.
Yeah.
Because one thing I've also find is, the way it flows, it was different than what I had in mind. And I think, I gotta admit, hers was better than mine.
Yeah, but that's the important thing. I mean, you do peer review before you.
Right.
I don't. I will get the editorial review from the. I do have friends read it. I have
Right.
a couple of friends read it just to make sure it's not completely off.
Right.
And but then I do the editorial review. But other people's interpretations and perceptions of the book are really important.
And you also have to remember, it's a business.
Yeah.
It is a business.
Yes.
And you have to make the package,
That's right.
adaptable to the consumer.
That's exactly right. And one of the features of working with ACX is then they put the finished product on Audible.com. They
Right.
are the biggest distributors of digital audio in the world.
Okay.
Now, it is in their best interest and also your producer's best interest to get the book out there. So
Right.
they're going to give you marketing tips.
Exactly.
You're going to learn more about marketing through this experience. And I think for people like us who self-publish and then get into the marketing, I know with me it was in many different directions in many different ways. And I'm absolutely still learning.
Right.
But this is so important because you can write the book, it could be the best book in the world. Nobody knows it's there.
Exactly.
It's just like
Exactly.
Amazon. You go on
Exactly.
Amazon, you can offer your book for free. But if nobody knows it's free,
It's going to be free and nobody knows it.
yeah, so if you have to, that's the whole thing, I think, the most challenging. And I should ask you, what's the most challenging part of the process?
The most challenging part is exactly what you're saying. It's marketing. You got to make known that your book is available.
Right, right.
And you got to market it, in a way that people want to buy it.
Yes, well, since you have a young adult
Right.
book, then it behooves you really to try to get into the schools and talk about it.
Funny thing that you say that. Clues from a Night Critter. I told you I got an anointing, not Oprah.
Right.
Well, it was a professor who I happen to know, and she used it in her class.
Excellent.
And that was...
See, I wrote lesson plans based on my book and put
Oh,
them on my website, but
okay.
I can't say I have much success with them. So and again, I realize that nobody knows they're there, really. Nobody who's interested. So I have a few connections in schools as well.
Right,
but
right.
That's a future project.
Well, I wish you luck on that
Yeah,
one.
well,
And
we will.
if you have tips, I'd like to get
Well,
them too.
maybe we should try to do something together.
I'd love that.
That would be fun.
Oh,
Two mystery
Another win.
writers. Right. Now, tell us about Walking with Verses.
Walking with Verses. Oh, I love it.
I said you love this book.
Yes,
so.
I do. I do. It's about taking your faith, and putting bones and making it alive. It's about dealing with adversity. It's about using your religion, and dealing with adversity. It's about real people and, how they dealt with their adversities. And
Would you like to read one?
sure.
Are they poems?
Oh, they're not
You
poems.
must have
They're,
You must have a favorite section in here.
well, I'm just going to read a portion of,
Okay.
that deals with anger.
Ah, anger, yes.
Yes.
But none of us ever has to deal with that, right? We never get angry.
Anger is an emotional reaction that ranges from mild annoyance to murderous rage. An expression of anger usually begins with the perception